welcome back to another episode of The Mind of Reese. I swear, I was trying to say, welcome back to the episode of My Reese. For some reason, I cannot speak the English language this morning. So this is like my sixth try trying to start this damn podcast episode. But you know what? I really, sometimes now I'm going to realize this. I'm going to remember to just keep the recordings because one day it will be really funny just to put them all together because, you know, we're creating legacy work here. So if I'm going to look back 10 years from now and look back at all the things that I've done to create the business that I'm creating and the impact that I'm creating, it's always nice to see like where you've come from. I always like to look at things like that. And you know, for me, it's just my lifestyle. It's just the way that I like to live my life. It's just to look at everything as profound moments. You know, everything is a profound moment, even in the micro moments. And it's where our human gets to make meaning of things when we desire to. And that for me is why I do what I do. It's why I live a purpose-fueled life and why I desire to make impact in lives, to raise the level of consciousness on this planet, is because of the fact that I really love making meaning, profound meanings in the micro moments of everyday living. And this is what makes us really, really great storytellers and really, really great coaches, mentors, healers, tattooers, all of the above. And so today we're actually going to be getting into something that actually I was having a conversation with one of my one-on-one clients, and she was telling me that she booked out 2 months in advance in her tattoo books. Now, she's also a mentor as well, but she booked out 2 months in advance without posting a single post and sending one email out. And honestly, like when I hear this, when someone makes, 8K in one day, booking out 2 months in advance, sending out one email, I like to break it down for everyone here. And so I would love to break this down in this podcast episode. So really, I like to think of it as, when I was having this conversation with her, it was like, imagine like when I had told her, when we first started working together, I think this was about, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago. I was like telling her, I was like, just imagine this. And I want everybody to imagine this with me, spending a lot less time on social media when you don't want to. If you like social media like I do, then you'll spend all the time you want to on there. But just imagine not needing to spend so much time on social media, knowing each post is calling in your soulmate people, and finally opening your books and sending out one email, and all of a sudden you are booked out for months. I remember saying this specifically in a post, and was a big reason why someone had come into my space and wanted to work with me intimately. And a couple of days ago, we had the conversation where she said, I literally went into pre-launch my books opening to my emailing list only. So this is a private launch. So if you are in Beyond the Stars with me, you have access to so many of these different types of strategies that I utilize for my business. I particularly say you need 3 things to have a really sustainable business. 1 would be a content strategy, 2 would be a launch strategy. But in order to tie those 2 things in, you need a brand message. You need a brand message, mission, and movement that will tie everything back to the values of the brand so that you can literally create diehard community. And so when she told me this, when she ended up telling me this and in our call, I was like super fucking stoked for her, number 1. And number 2, of course, like in my mind, I was like, of course she did that. And the reason is that we've tied it all back to becoming a really audacious storyteller. You have the audacity to tell stories in the online space. Now, I do want to say that stories lead to 3 things, right? They lead to connection, trust, and sales. So when you're telling stories that tie back into your values, you've just created an iconic, unique brand message. And when you are able to talk about this for months and months and months, tying everything back in different ways back to this unique brand message, you create a movement. Now, movements, if you've checked out a couple of podcast episodes ago, are the money makers. When you build a movement based on a unique brand message that people can bandwagon on because they see themselves through your stories, they feel seen, heard, felt, loved, understood through your stories that you tell, because everything that comes through the brain happens in images. All of the sudden, things like sending out one email gets you booked out for 2 months in advance becomes the new normal. And it's really interesting because she said to me, I feel like it was actually way easier, that she had been leaning into her brand message for the past 2 months. Now, the past 2 months, we've been working together for 6 months. For the first 2 months, she was not posting at all. The reason being was that there was big fear around sharing her message, around sharing her story. And I find that this happens to all of us. We get excited about a new strategy that can help us grow our business, grow our tattoo business, grow our brand, really grow our entrepreneurial journey brand. And we get so excited to do it, but it's not actually embodied or connected to who we are because we are too afraid to share who we are in the online space. Because sometimes the parts of us that we don't like are the parts that actually create the values, are the parts of us that actually create why we make meaning to micro moments. Like, I make meaning to micro moments because it's a value of mine to see everyday life as magic and miracles happening in every moment. And the reason why I do that is because I never want to be stuck in the chasing and the forcing and the need for validation, which I have been in, because that need for validation has driven me to do things that I'm not very proud of. And of those things I'm not very proud of, AKA taking tattoos that were not mine and posting them as my own and getting caught very publicly, having a full shame spiral, and then learning how to dig myself out of the own grave that I dug for myself, helped me realize that everyday moments are showing me that I am fully validated. And that I actually don't need anything outside of me to validate me. Thus, all of a sudden, creating a brand message and stories that I tell in everyday life so that I can tie that brand message back into my brand every single day through whatever I'm talking about. I am the embodiment of my brand. This is how I live. I'm on social media for maybe an hour a day, if that, And outside of that, I am living, breathing embodiment of what it is that I talk about in the online space. And that's only 1% of who I am in the online space. And so for me and you to have the audacity, to have the bravery to say the thing out loud is actually way scarier than creating everything on the back end. Everybody wants to be able to create the best tattoo designs, but if nobody sees the design, you can't get booked out with the design. Nobody's going to take the design, right? So it's the same thing about a brand message. People can't bandwagon onto something they never see. And if it's not in a way that's not only repetitive, but in a repetitive, diversified way. Now, I'm not saying the same thing over and over again, but I am saying the same thing over and over again in different ways through different stories. So that's the reason why people have a hard time with content. Why tattooers, entrepreneurs, content creators, whatever it is whatever your flavor is, you have a hard time with content because you feel like you're saying the same thing over and over again because you are not turning everyday living into magic and miracles, profound stories to tie it back into what it is that you believe in, which creates the unique brand message. So when we don't do this, of course, social media feels hard. Of course, business feels hard. Of course, booking out feels hard. So the moment this person opened their books, literally one email was booked out for 2 months. And they were And they were talking about their brand message a lot for the last 2 months. Now, it's funny because I do want to remind you guys that since opening your business, whatever that looks like for you as an artist, entrepreneur, coach, mentor, whatever it looks like, creative, painter, whatever. Since you've opened your business, you have actually been inadvertently, on accident, creating a brand message. Now, when we actually become conscious of that brand message, just like in the inner work, and this is the reason why I believe spiritual, mental, emotional health will lead to your wealth and success, because when we do the inner work to understand awareness, what is happening within the body, when we can actually understand where our nervous system really plays a big game with the way that we move throughout the world, what we perceive as danger and safety, we actually can understand ourselves well enough to know why we move in the world that we do, like we do, why we do what we do, why we love what we love, and actually tie it back into what it is that we value, and then turn that into a brand message that helps people bandwagon. Now, the effects of bandwagon, if you haven't heard me say anything like that, now bandwagoning means that people are basically, seeing what you're doing, watching other people be in your spaces and want to bandwagon and follow what other people feel is valuable, right? So the thing is that the more tattoos you do, the more others perceive it as valuable, the more they want to do the thing that people perceive as valuable. And so this is where you're basically just getting people to jump on ship. They're like, I believe in what she believes in, and all these other people believe in what she believes in. So I want the same result. I want the same feeling. The result equals a feeling. And the feeling that you give people is a faster way to convert strangers to clients, to soulmate clients, to forever clients, right? All the way through. It's a faster way to do that when we tell stories. Stories create the connection, trust, and sales. And that's when you tie it back to a brand message, a unique brand message, you've just built a motherfucking brand. So what a post does, it gets your art seen. It gets you a client or two. It grows your following. What a brand does, it builds authority. It creates a connection point and attracts forever clients and grows your bank account. Now, I don't know about you, but I could give a shit about growing my following. I would much rather grow my bank account. Why? Because when you grow your bank account, you grow your freedom. You're realizing you're growing your impact. It's definitely a method of metric to see your growth. Now, funny thing is that I saw a post the other day that said something about, it was like, if you're a tattoo artist that wants to make more money, and then they went on to say, it's not all about money, guys. And I was like, yeah, that's true. That's true. It's not all about money. And if it is, so what? There's always a reason why we do the thing. And money is great. I think the fact is that once we can really get a beautiful understanding of what a relationship to money is, to what making money is, to what talking about money is, it's like we're actually going to really release the separation between energy and energy, because that's all it is. It's just energy. Like for me, I'm not pedestaling money. I like money as a metric to show, oh, okay, here's what's working, here's what's not. Okay. And then I always go back in. So there's like really 3 metrics to understanding what's happening. Is it your visibility that you're missing out on? Is it the conversion rate that you're missing out on? Like, what are the 2 things? These are the 2 things that really you can understand which is not working. So if a conversion is working, like you're getting people into your emailing list, but yet you're not making sales. Okay. So then we got to go into what the emails are saying, right? If you're not getting visibility on your posts and not getting waitlisted, so then it's visibility. So we got to do something about the content, right? So there are different metrics that can measure. And then obviously at the end of the day, when you're starting to make money, you're like, okay, this is working. What's working better? Where can we expand upon? And what feels really good? Because at the end of the day, for me, there's 2 ways that you can absolutely reverse engineer how it is that you want to build your dream. What is the result that you want? What is the goal? And reverse the vibe. How I want to get there. Because I can reverse engineer and say, okay, you've got to post twice a day. You've got to send out 5 emails a day. You've got to dance, monkey dance, and do all of these things, which can absolutely grow your business for sure. But does that make me feel good in my body? Fuck no. So I'm going to choose a way that feels good in my body, but also gets me to the goal. Okay. And I like to make big, hairy, scary goals because 10x is easier than 2x, where you have a qualitative shift versus 2x. There's a million ways to 2x your business. There's only a few ways to 10x your business. So if you're going to 10x your business, you need to double down on the things and let go of the other things that aren't working, double down on the things that do. And so for me, it was doubling down in the parts of myself. It was doubling down in my spiritual, mental, and emotional health. That's what I did. To really understand what it is that my values brought. What were my values in this world? What was it that I really, really was like, I could talk about this for the rest of my motherfucking life. I could do this piece of art for the rest of my motherfucking life. And as that evolves and refines, it can, absolutely. My message has been evolving and refining for the past fucking year. You know what I mean? Like for the past fucking year, I am a totally evolved person and I'm a totally evolved message. I do a totally evolved things. Artwork, all my art is like evolved. It's evolution. But I am happy to talk about this very one thing, right? And so now all of a sudden, I've created stories that tie it back to all of this message. And how I create those stories is by living a life worth talking about, is by taking micro moments and making them profound. It's by making meaning of things. Tattoos don't have meanings unless I want them to, right? Your content doesn't have meaning unless you want it to. Your brand doesn't have meaning unless you want it to. That is your decision. That is your choice. We are the meaning makers. And thus, it is in our biological format to want to make meaning of life. That is human. It's in your biology. The science. Science. It's in your biology to want to make meaning. It's in your biology to want to create connection, to make meaning of things, because it gives you a purpose. We all desire to have a purpose. This is mine. And so I talk about it in a myriad of ways, and I will continue to talk about it in hopes that it will hit differently the next time you hear it. Right? So when she told me that when she officially opened up her books publicly, so she opened her books 2 months in advance, right? Opened her books publicly, started posting. She did a 2-week launch strategy that I recommend. And you build out this launch strategy in BTS, you can, and Beyond the Stars, and where you can, you know, it's like day by day by day, what it is that you're doing, what it is you're launching, what it is you're sending out into the world, right? It's just like a step-by-step format. You make your own content, obvi, because it has to go around your unique brand message. So in this, she was able to, in 2 weeks, publicly book out 6 months in advance, make 8K in euros, because she lives in Europe. And the last time that she had launched her books being open, she only booked out 2 months in advance. This was publicly, and was posting almost every day. Now, she did end up posting in her launch for the 2 weeks every day. But prior to that, the content strategy, which is what I always recommend, is that when you are talking about your brand mission, message, and movement, you can literally post, I recommend, 3 to 4 times a week, because we want to continue to be top of mind for people. But we also want to give ourselves space and grace to really create meaningful, valuable content that drives people to you, not only based on the beautiful artwork that you do, but also on the way that you make them feel. Because artwork in and of itself tells stories, right? And the stories that you tell to create the content around the artwork is a story. And then you have obviously your caption. So the artwork absolutely can tell its own story. If you are an incredible, like really incredible artist, which all of you are, you are going to be able to tell beautiful stories through art. And then you tie it back into what it is you believe. Yes, this is why I do the thing that I do. Here's a story around it to tie it back. Imagine this. So there are always stories that we're telling. We're telling 4 different stories all the time. our brand story, right? That's the purpose. This is the origin story. We call this the origin story, which is your brand story, the purpose. Why are you doing the thing? Your current stories, these are the lived and alive, profound micro stories that are happening in day-to-day life that you are turning into meaning. Everyday life, everyday life. Every story I tell on my podcast, as you know, has been created, has that profound meaning for me because I make it such. And because I make it such, and because you and I are aligned, you feel that meaning and you tie it back. I see myself in that. Last week, I think I was talking about my nephew. This week, wow. I was so excited to wake up yesterday morning, because of the fact it felt like motherfucking Christmas. I all of a sudden was just like, oh my God, it feels like Christmas. And it's not even because I'm doing anything. It was just because I was so excited for my partner to tell his family, 6 people, that he was flying them all out for Christmas to spend Christmas in San Diego. Some of which have never been to America because they all live in the UK. And it was so exciting. And the way that he decided to do this was to do a surprise game. And I loved it. He kept me a part of it. And because of the fact that, like, I'm not helping him pay for any of this stuff, but it was just so beautiful because it was one of those things that it was a value that I value. I value generosity. I value generosity. I value creating meaningful experiences for the people that I love. And that's all of you guys as well. And so it's funny because, earlier this year, I flew my parents first class because I didn't want my mom to feel nervous about her oxygen tank. So I flew her first class to go visit my brother in Portugal. She had the time of her life. And just to hear the stories of how much fun she had was incredible. And I put them up in really nice Airbnb. Me and my brother both did. And it felt really fucking good. It was like, oh my gosh, that feels so good in my body. So as my partner, my boyfriend, Andy, he's telling this, we are like on FaceTime about to tell them like what's happening. They're at like Sunday roast at Andy's parents' house. It's him, it's Andy's sister, her husband, 2 kids, and then mom and dad. And so it was just like so exciting to tell them. And we're giving them Easter eggs and doing all these things. And I just, all of a sudden, Andy's sister starts crying when she finds out that she's going to San Diego with the whole family. And this was something that she'd been wanting to do for a really long time. It's just they couldn't afford it. Not for everybody to go out, for 4 people to go out. It's tough. And so for 6 people to go out, it can be a lot. And then to also know that you're getting your Airbnb paid for so that you really don't have to spend anything. You just get to come. And when she started crying, Andy started crying. Is because he was just so excited. Ooh, I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it. Because in that moment, it made me realize like why I love this man is because he values what I value. And I was able to literally feel what he is feeling because of this beautiful story, because of this beautiful act of generosity. Now, when you hear that story, how much does it make you feel like, fuck yeah, I want to create a fucking business and a brand that gives me that level of freedom so I can be generous to the people that I love, so that I can create really great experiences? That's being a story fucking teller. That's having the audacity to tell stories that are really profound. And when you think people don't care, there are people that do. And those people that do are the ones that will spend lots of money. They become the luxury buying type. It's because they value what you value, and you just so happen to put it in an incredible way that made them feel like, gosh, I want to feel that too. Right? So while a post helps you with what's happening this week, a brand helps you build a business that lasts for years to come. That's what that is. So you have your current stories that tie you back into the mission, message, and movement. You have your conversion stories. Why me over anyone else? Well, your conversion stories are almost exactly the same as your current stories, just told in a different way, because since we are motivating people to get into our books now, motivating people to come into our programs now, motivating people to take action now, Conversion stories are just told a little different. They're just told a little different. But they're the same stories because all of a sudden you're like, hey, I've got this thing now that's open. The current stories are the stories that you utilize when you're in your content strategy, when you're in your, when you're not in a launch. When you're not in your launch mode, when you're not launching your books or opening, when your books aren't open, even if your books are open, they're still great because they automatically tend to want to convert people into your emailing waitlist right away because of the stories that you tell without having to be like, hey, my books are opening or hey, my books are open. That's how powerful stories are. With the conversion story, it just adds the extra level of call to action, right? The stories you tell, which comes in many forms, the actual tattoo art that you create, your content art, your business art, your educational art, your authority, these things. And then you have a really important fourth story, which is the most important, right? It's the stories that you tell yourself. That story, those stories, whatever story you are telling yourself on a daily basis is what will inform how you create content, how you create your art, how you show the fuck up in the online space, basically every action you take in your life. And if you do not have the audacity to change the stories that you tell yourself, you are blocking your cash flow, which means you're blocking your clients and you're definitely blocking your confidence. The thing that blocks people's voices the most is the question, will they like me? Most people go around trying to prevent people from not liking them. And speaking into only popular opinion is not marketing. This is asking the question, what does my audience want from me? This is dance monkey dance information. This is like, oh, no wonder content is so hard because you are doing the whole dance monkey dance thing. You're like, oh my gosh, well, I've got to do the dancing and I've got to do this funny and I got to be this or got to be that. I'm not saying that content doesn't sometimes become like, oh, I got to make some content today. Like, duh, that everything in business happens that way. It's like it's not every day that you go into a, go and tattoo someone and you're like, yeah, every single day is the best day ever. You know what I mean? Like we're human. We're allowed to like feel like I don't want to do this today. That gets to be real. But your devotion to the purpose that you've created through your brand is what makes you do it. It motivates you to fucking keep doing it, to continue to move through whatever, resistance is happening within your body. That story that you have, your origin story, creates that. It shifts the stories you tell yourself. And instead of going, what does my audience want from me? Which is, oh, what's popular and what is it that everybody likes and how can I go viral? The real question can be when you're asking yourself, who am I? Who are my people? What do I say to them? How do I provide massive value to them? How can I be in service? That's speaking into integrity of who the fuck you are. That's way more sustainable of a business because it's polarizing. Polarizing is marketing. When you are you unapologetically expressed, when you are you are more polarizing because you are willing to bravely tell the stories, willing to shift the stories that you have with yourself. You are willing to tell your origin story, why you're doing the thing that it is that you do. You are willing to turn old stories, past stories, into stories of wisdom and gold. You are also willing to take regular, mundane life stories, everyday living into something profound. And a core of what all humans want is to be seen, heard, understood, valued, and loved. This is how you build the most sustainable, life-giving business, is because it's an extension of who you are and of your heart. And by learning how to create a strong brand message, you create sustainability, which means, oh, I only need to post a few posts. I send a few emails out to book you months and months in advance for years. Not just for this year, for years. The sustainability means for years. It means longevity, lifetime. I've heard, I had a friend come to me who is also a coach, and he was like, man, first year I did this, I made $1 million. Second year he did this, he made $500,000, not bad. Like, obviously not where he wanted it to be, but he made $500,000, not bad, like to him, in his mind. However, didn't profit a single thing. He actually went into debt because of how many people he had hired in his space. And I was like, holy moly. And then the year after that, the third year, it went lower. And so when I think about sustainability, there is, and he ended up bringing this back up. So like he's fucking killing it. Like love that. But what he realized, and what we all need to realize, is that, yeah, you can have one great year. You can. Is it sustainable? Sustainability, the most sustainable business that you could have is because it's an extension of who you are. When we are trying to do the dance monkey dance whole thing and trying to go viral and trying to figure out the algorithm and all of this bullshit, then we are actually cutting ourselves off from the integrity of who we are, which cuts ourselves off from the people that we are meant to call in. Because you know what's happening is that you are in chasing mode. Nervous systems speak to each other. I tell you right now, your nervous system is speaking to someone else's nervous system. Your nervous system is always seeing danger or safety. What is this happening right now? The thoughts in your head, it doesn't even have to be out in the real world. It's what's perceived in your brain. The stories that you are creating inside your mind is being filtered through your nervous system and what experiences you've had in the past that tell you what's dangerous and what's safe. Posting online about ourselves, danger, 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 danger. So we don't do it. What happens when we feel danger in our body? We fight or flight. There is no room for creativity, solutions, change when we are in survival. So we have to move our bodies into safety. How do we do this? We understand that there are stories in our bodies that we can change. The stories we can tell differently. I feel activation in my body. I feel danger in my body. Can I ask myself the question, in this moment, with these people, in this room, with these things, am I actually in danger or am I safe? And if I can come to knowing that I'm actually safe, I'm not going to get hit by a bus, I'm not being chased by a lion, I'm actually safe. Okay, so I am safe in this moment. My body is safe in this moment. Can I come back to homeostasis and then see the story, become the observer? Okay, the story is, if I say this out loud in the online space, I will get judged, rejected, whatever the story is. There it is. That's the story. What would be a story that would be more supportive to me right now? If I tell this story, I will be rejected, judged, whatever it is. Okay, that's one story. If I tell this story, I will call in the people I'm meant to call in. I will feel much more liberated in my body because I'm now speaking in my truth. And now I'm creating a message that people want to be a part of, a brand that people want to be a part of. Wow, those are two stories, two possible stories for sure. And they both could be true. Which one is more supportive to the way you're going to move? Which way would you move differently? Where are you moving when I'm doing, oh my God, I'm going to be rejected and judged? How are you moving in that? Oh my God, I'm going to build something life-giving, sustainable. I'm going to call in my soulmate clients and I'm going to get booked out. What feels good in the body? Okay, obviously the story where I'm going to believe something a little bit more positive, right? Those stories, you see what I'm saying? The two stories that you tell yourself are both very real, probable, possible stories. But when we lean into potential, then we lean into homeostasis, all of a sudden my nervous system is calling out to the nervous systems of all those people that feel the same way. And those types of people are the type of people that are luxury buying soulmate clients, right? So by learning how to create a strong brand message, you create sustainability. Because it's not only sustainable for your business, it's sustainable for your nervous system. If you're always in fight or flight, honey, survival, there's no change in survival. So we have to shift the stories we tell because our body, our nervous system, our body, our deep innate knowing in our body is telling us that something is dangerous. So we can't speak it into the online space. So all the stories I just learned how to tell, right? Strategy. I just learned how to tell my origin story, my lived and alive stories, my conversion story, right? Like origin story, current story, conversion stories. Those three stories, I learned how to tell those, but I don't know how to tell different stories that I tell myself. So those three things, I learned it. but I'm not implementing it. I'm not actually making a change to implement it. And even if I am implementing it, I'm implementing it from a place of survival. So that means I'm actually doing the same things I'm doing, maybe just a little bit more organized, right? Maybe just a little bit more organized in this way. I'm doing the same things that I have been doing, maybe a little bit more organized, and still getting the same results. And I'm wondering why I'm still getting the same results, right? So brand message, create sustainability, and scalability. Scalability. This means you can create multiple income streams, make money while you're tattooing, hanging out with family, making money while you're walking your dog, making money while you're out with your partner, on vacation, whatever. So this particular client that I have, she's celebrating. She's like, I'm surpassing my goal of having. She surpassed her goal of having 60 people sign up for her online class. Surpassed her goal of 50. And then was able to get a couple of one-on-ones, online one-on-ones. She ended up upselling, which is so fucking amazing. It's so fucking amazing. So not only able to book out months in advance through one email and then going into a 2-week launch, booking out 6 more months, because she was able to have a brand message plus the time, because she's no longer just so stuck on what to do on social media because she's going all of these different directions. She's like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? How do I get more clients? How do I get more clients? She actually has been able to, sustain her energy so that she can actually put her focus on something else and create another income stream. She also owns a shop, okay? And create another income stream that continues to help people do the thing that she loves doing, that thing that she believes in, right? And so this is where it gets to be really, really fucking incredible because not only are you building a brand message for your business, this is an all-encompassing umbrella. This is what my mentor likes to call the defining metaphor. I like to call it, what is the sign that you are holding? What would the sign say that you are holding in your hands? What would it say about you and about your business? What would that sign say? And that essentially gets to be the aspect, because for me, I'm like, your spiritual, mental, and emotional health will create wealth and success. Turning your personal stories into power, purpose, and profit. Like, I fucking love that. Like, I built a multi-million-dollar business by accident because I decided to focus on my spiritual, mental, and emotional health. And because I did that, I was able to build a brand message that created an octopus business, is what I love, because I have a business that has different multiple income streams. So I call it the octopus business. But the octopus has one bulbous head. So there's one brand message, and we have the octopus tentacles that are like, oh, here are all the ways that I make money through one brand message. So it makes it easy for me. So I don't have to have like 10 million different accounts to make 10 million different pieces of content for different businesses that have different brand messages. I actually get to have one brand and has all of these multiple parts to my brand that creates income so that I can create more generosity, freedom, wealth, impact in my life and hers as well. So she started to implement this with the people in her shop as well. And they're starting to see a difference too in the business, I believe in the walk-ins that come in and things like that. So yeah, all this because you built a brand message? No. All this because you built a brand message based on your values that you were brave enough to dig deep into, find, move through your doubt, and use your voice to build authority and share it in the online space. All this because you had the audacity to become a storyteller. Yeah, so 6 months, booking 6 months in advance with one email? Absolutely. I've been booking myself out with one email for the past 5 years sustainably. 5 years. That's sustainable business. I'd rather have a sustainable business than a business that only, I've got to worry about what's going to happen next month. No, I'm like, no, I've actually created something that will last me years to come. And sustainability is honestly success to me. I'd rather make less income, but know that I'm always going to make the same, or something that's sustainable for me, and that I can continuously grow and scale my business for years. Instead of knowing that, like, I've been a 14-year tattooer, which is something that I have heard a lot of, and then, like, they were doing great at the beginning, and then all of a sudden it's, like, not so great. This is what a brand does. So that's it for today. Have the audacity to become a really great storyteller. And if you want to learn how to create these different stories, these different 4 stories, I'm having a 5-day immersive. And what I mean by immersive is that it means that we are going to be utilizing the practical somatic body tools that I utilize every day that has created a brand message, mission, and movement that has been built to a multi-million-dollar brand. I would love to invite you. Click the link in the show notes. Audacity, the prices are going up. I don't know what today we're going to be doing this thing. I know that we've been raising the prices every week just to create incentive, just for you to jump in. Come in, get off the fence. I know you're on that fence. Like, just come on in. This is for the visionary, the entrepreneur, the tattooer. You know, this is for the person that's just kind of, this is ready. Not kind of. You were fucking ready. Ready is a choice. You made the choice to be fucking ready, and that you're going to join us. And yes, you get replays. That all happens. And yes, you actually also get a bonus to how to give yourself a raise. I'm not sure what this masterclass is going to be about yet. I don't know the name of the masterclass yet, but I'm throwing a 3-day masterclass, paid masterclass, probably going to, be anywhere upwards of over $600 for this 3-day masterclass after I'm done with, like, the replays and everything like that. And you'll get it for free. So you will get this masterclass for free if you join in Audacity. $600 value. You also come in, you get the ARC for a full month, which is, $88 value, but there's $14,000 worth of stuff in there to plug in and play. And you'll also get 5 days of immersive understanding on the practical tools to unlock your throat chakra, so that you can tell really incredible stories and learn how to tell those stories in the online space to create a brand message, mission, and movement, so you can start calling in those motherfucking soulmate clients and create more freedom in your life. Go travel the world, build a tattoo shop, whatever it is that you fucking want to do, whatever lights you the fuck up. That's what we're doing here. Can't wait to see you guys in there.